Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I'm back with my August reading wrap-up where I talk about the books that I read in the month of August and my reading stats. So, I didn't read that many books in August, so I can do my reading stats all in the same video. Let's go right into it, or not, because it's summertime. Windows open, actually my door is open as well, just to get a flow of air and no one else is home. So there might be ambient noise. Deal with it. That's just the warning. I will edit out any random, sudden, extreme noises to the best of my ability. So you don't have to hear sudden construction, squealing, or yelling, or horn beeping, that kind of thing. But yeah, just a warning, especially to your headphone users. Now, let's talk about my stats. In the month of August, I read a total of 3 books. Now you know why it's very simple for me to include stats in this as I wrap up the entire month. Pages read 1,888. Average rating was 3.83. And I acquired 1 book. Now, library books, again, wasn't paying too much attention to that, and my spreadsheet wasn't up to date because of technical difficulties. My Google account was full. But anyway, let's move on to the genres. So, as of last month, July, I've switched the genres that I'll be talking about. These are more like subgenres, but I feel like it better speaks to what I read and the content than giving you general genres, which I was doing before. So, I read 1 epic or high fantasy book, 1 contemporary romance, and 1 paranormal romance. So, still going on my romance kick here. The formats: I read no audiobooks, 1 ebook, and 2 physical books. Again, still keeping with the physical books, I just get more comfort out of reading physical books. So it is what it is. New category is forms. And maybe I should change that to length. Do you think that length, size, does that sound more appropriate? You let me know in the comments down below. I read 3 novels. Very simple. Now we get into the identity section, and first up is gender identity, and I read 3 books with cisgender main characters. And racial identity, I read 1 book with a black main character, 1 book with a mixed main character, and 1 book with white main characters. As far as sexual identity goes, they were all straight main characters for this one. Oh, authors. None of them were new to me. These are all books by authors that I have read before. The types of books: no standalones, and 3 series, guys. 3 series. And no rereads. All new stuff. Last but not least, the ratings. I read 1 5-star book, 1 3.5-star book, and 1 3-star book. So those are my reading stats for August of 2021. Not feeling too bad about only reading 3 books. Still a little bit of a reading slump, but I feel like I read um, 2 of those books towards the end of the month, and we're in September, and I've already read 3 books at the time of filming this, the first week of September. So I'm getting out of the reading slump, but the beginning of the month was definitely still kind of there, but not too much. I think it's because the first book I finished was a chunker, and the first book I finished in the month of August was Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Yes, I did it. Yes, I did it. I feel very proud and accomplished. I have now caught up on the Stormlight Archive series, which means minus 2 graphic novels, I have read everything that is currently published in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, and this has been a 2-year journey for me that I am very happy I went on and enjoyed myself for the most part. And I do want to continue. There are more books coming, but let me not go into too much detail about the Cosmere right now. Just know that is the overarching universe where several of Brandon Sanderson's book series are set. So, Stormlight Archive, Book 4 was Rhythm of War. This came out last year, and when I thought I would be done and caught up by reading Oathbringer, then Rhythm of War and Dawnshard, the novella before this, came out at the end of the year, and I was like, why are you doing this to me, Brandon? But yeah, so Stormlight Archive is set in the world of Roshar, where there are various countries of different races of people. Roshar is a world where there are storms, and they pass over the world with regularity, and they all go in one direction. People of Roshar, knowing these storms are very strong, they stay indoors when they happen, and they build their cities with walls to protect the people from the storms that come in one direction. We're following these very many characters, actually, which is, I'm finding a difficulty for me. In general, too big of a cast of characters. But in general, I like it. We're following, at the beginning of this, in the first book, Dalinar, who is the uncle to the current king. He is one of the many princes of one nation who culture is to be constantly at war, and they're currently fighting a smaller group of people because they killed this Dalinar's brother, who was the former king. And Dalinar is going through some things because he's started to have visions with. Then there is Shallan, who is a young lady from yet another nation, different country. She has a very traumatic past, and even though she's lived a very sheltered life, her father has recently passed away, and it's come to her and her brother's attention that they need money. So she comes up with this harebrained scheme. She goes out into the world and learns some things. And we also follow Kaladin, who is a slave. He is a former soldier for the same country and army that Dalinar is from, but due to a betrayal, he is branded and shoved into slavehood, and he is dealing with that, and a lot of things changing in his world, and he wants to help people. So yeah, each book we get more of a focus on certain characters' points of view, particularly flashbacks, and in this one it's Nalini. Now, she is the mother of the current king, the wife of the king who was killed in book 1. And things have changed since then, but she's still of great importance. We get more of points of view from the singers and the bad guys in this. So things have changed, but the end hurt me so very much. I'm so very upset. Because the wit. I'm sorry, not the wit. Wit. Oh no. Like, he's been a character. He's a character who's been in every book in the Cosmere. Not just the Stormlight Archives. So he's one of the things that ties the Cosmere together. And something very not great happens at the end of this, and I'm just so upset. So upset. Because he's definitely a favorite character. There's deaths in here. Again, like, it hurt my heart. There are some revelations, but now, like, things are changing, and I'm really upset about Taravangian. Like, so upset. So yeah, I gave this book a 5 stars because how could I not? How could I not? Let me stop talking about it because I'm getting weepy. I'm just so upset about that. It was the very end, and I'm just like, they're just getting a grasp on everything, and you just... Brandon Sanderson does not hold punches. But let's talk about the next book I finished because it's completely different. The next book I finished in the month of August was Archangel's Son by Nalini Singh. So I have been purposefully trying to catch up on this series because I really enjoy it. And this is the Guild Hunters novel, the Guild Hunters series by Nalini Singh. This is book number 13. And I think it was earlier this year I read the book before this, The Archangel's War, and oh boy, yeah, it was a lot. So this is the aftermath of the war. The war is over, but the effects of war are still out there. And in this one, we're following Titus, who is the Archangel of the continent of Africa, and the Hummingbird, who is the mother of Ilium, one of Archangel Raphael's 7, his like inner circle, and Ilium is an angel, the Hummingbird is an angel. She has been kind of in her own world in her head for hundreds of years, but she's this amazing artist, and she's now in charge of this kind of conclave of art in the angel world. So she is sent to help Titus in any way she knows how. And Titus is just like, I'm dealing with a war-ravaged country. I have now had to take over a territory that I didn't have before, and then he's just like, what is she gonna do, right? So they have an amusing relationship. I did not explain the series, so let me do that. The Guild Hunter series. The first 5 books or so, we focus on Archangel Raphael. He's the Archangel in charge of North America, I believe. And he is based in New York City. And his partner is Elena, a guild hunter. Hence the title. Elena has the abilities through birth to that enhance her as a human being and give her a leg up with killing and hunting down vampires. And so she's joined the guild hunters because that's what they do. In this world, angels exist, vampires exist, that kind of thing. There are archangels. The archangels are the apex predators, the rulers of the planet, basically. And for reasons unknown to people, human beings, they create vampires. But it is a 100-year contract. Human beings approach, they have to be tested, and if they can become a vampire, if the archangels and angels believe that they would make a good match after it's tested, they will be changed into a vampire, and they are under contract to work for this angel or archangel for 100 years. Many people are drawn to this idea of being immortal. No one lives as long as the angels, though. But they want their cake and to eat it too, which means many vampires try to get out of their contracts, or they go rogue, basically, and the guild hunter's job is to get them back. So Raphael hires Elena for a particular job and won't give her too many details on who she's hunting and why. But in the course of things, they, fall in love and get together, and things go from there. That was basically the first book, and the first 5 books focus on the two of them. And then since then, we've been getting books for each of Raphael's 7. Like I said, his inner circle, his top men. There's some vampires and some angels. And I mentioned Ilium being one of them. I think he's the youngest, or one of the youngest. And now we're branching out to other people we've met in the world who are related to them. And Titus is a friend of Raphael's, as much friends as archangels can be. And the hummingbird, like I said, is Ilium's mother. So regarding the relationship between Titus and the hummingbird, is very interesting. It was amusing. He underestimates her. She is not a fighter exactly, but she discovers some things about herself. She remembers some things about herself that she hadn't. Like I said, she went through a couple of traumatic experiences and kind of withdrew mentally. She's not an idiot and never has been, but she's a treasure to the angel community, and that's how he sees her. But he's currently dealing with this gory, violent life and doesn't know what to do with her. And she's gonna show him what she can do. There's some bickering, which is amusing because he doesn't know what to do with her, and it's funny, and she's not taking his shit. So I enjoyed this. I was not going to read this soon, but Nalini Singh and company, her people, announced that Archangel's Light, which will be about Ilium and Adrian, his best friend, is coming out later this year. And I was like, oh no. I need to read this so that I'm ready for when that comes out. So that's an anticipated release. This was fun and I enjoyed it. Not a great big deal. I put this down as paranormal romance after discussing with some people, because it's more heavy on the romance than the world building in this one. So yeah, check it out. What did I give this? I gave this 3 stars. I liked it. It wasn't amazing. It's not a new favorite from the series, but I liked it. I had a good time. The last book I finished in the month of August was The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This is book 2 in the Off-Campus series. Now, this, I read The Deal last month or the month before. I'm really liking these. These are sports romance. So this, obviously, I read the physical book from my library. This is new adult romance, and I gave it 3.5 stars. They're all attending this Briar University, and all of the guys are on the championship winning hockey team. This one, we're following John, Logan, and Grace. So I mentioned his last name because we just call him Logan in this, because there's another John, and they get confused, as happens when there's 2 people with the same name. So they each have different names. So anyway, alright, this is continuing obviously the storyline from the previous book, where Garrett and his girlfriend get together. In the backdrop, Logan was falling in love with Garrett's now girlfriend, and he's still hurt that she chose Garrett over him, and it is what it is. He's trying to get over it by basically fucking his way through his next year of college, his junior year of college, which is not working too great. He and Garrett and several other teammates all live in the same house, and you know, so when girlfriend comes over, it's hard because Garrett was his best friend, so he's just, you know, he's just trying to move on. In comes Grace Ivers, who's a freshman. Grace is kind of kooky. She's a little bit awkward. She babbles when she's nervous, and it's cute. She's not a party girl. She doesn't care about sports. It's hilarious how she doesn't care about hockey. Oh, that's a bit of this little tiny kernel of a spoiler. It doesn't really come up until the end, and it's so hilarious. But yeah, like, she doesn't care about hockey, but her best friend does. Her best friend is a party girl. She's desperate to be, you know, friends with everyone and all of that. And Grace, being a little bit more shy and introverted, just follows along with her because they grew up together. So anyway, one day Logan is trying to go to this party or whatever, but he has no information because he kind of ran out of the house because, you know, comes over, and then, you know, her and Garrett are getting it on in his room, and poor Logan can hear it through the wall because his room is on the other side. So he runs out to go to this party that he heard about, and he leaves his phone, and he goes to the wrong dorm building and accidentally goes to Grace's room, and Grace is like, I know who you are, but she doesn't say anything, and she's rather awkward and babbly, and Logan is like, okay, that's cute, but she is watching an action movie, and he wants to borrow her phone, because obviously he showed up at the wrong dorm room, so he winds up sitting down to watch with her or whatever. Yeah, they make out. It becomes a thing. They make out several times, and things get awkward. Eventually, he has to come clean, like, look, I am in love with someone else, and I'm kind of using you to ignore my crush, basically, because she's with someone else. And Grace is like, well, fuck you then. And that's the end of that. There's some backdrop of drama with puck bunnies, girls who basically like to fuck their way through all the hockey players. There's, you know, drama on campus. There's some issues that Grace deals with her best friend, who is really not supportive anymore. And then there's issues on Logan's side with his future and his family. So Logan's basically like, this is it. I have no future. It fucking sucks. I enjoyed this. As always, these books are like, they have more depth to them than the synopsis and the cover really gives you. The sexy times are good and consensual. In this one, it's slow burn, actual sex, penetrative sex in particular. I appreciate that, you know, he goes after what he wants. I like the friendships in this. They are great, except for Grace's best friend, because, but I can understand. But the guys, the hockey guys, like, some of them are really shallow, but they're human, right? They're not just cardboard cutouts. Yeah, I like the dual perspective, so we see stuff from the male point of view and the female point of view in this series, and I'm definitely going to continue because they are fun, they make me think, and they give me the romance and the happy ever after that I want. I wasn't expecting how this turned out, particularly on Logan's end with his family situation. I wasn't expecting that. Shout out, daps to the coach, by the way, because that came out of the blue. I was just like, sometimes you just gotta take the shit that life gives you. Like, you know, make the best of it. But the way that turned out in the end, I was like, I didn't even think of that as an option. But we're looking at things from Logan's point of view. So yeah, that's the last book I read in the month of August. How was your August? What did you read? Have you read any of these books? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to leave me a comment but you don't know what to say or just want to support, you can leave me a little hockey stick emoji down below. This is what it looks like. And like this video if you liked it. That would really help me out. Subscribe if you haven't. That would also help me grow my channel. I would really appreciate that. Hit the notification bell after you subscribe so you know when my next video is coming out.